Oh my gosh. So, nice sunset tonight. I am in Phoenix and I've been here for a couple of weeks. And I actually was here for the first time about a month ago, only for a couple of days. And this was my sort of plan B location, and ended up being amazing. I was at a motel and I ended up having to move from there because I had a note on my car from the police saying I couldn't park there. And so they just told me to move. So I moved, and this was my plan B. So this is why I always say, if you're going to go someplace, have a plan B. Just look up a plan B, and this ended up being amazing. It's close to my gym, it's close to grocery stores, it's close to coffee shops, and it's on this long kind of industrial type of street. The best part is, and you can see behind me, there's just this open field. I'm on my way over to Phoenix, and holy cow, the freeways here in Arizona are terrible. Good grief. Arizona, do something about the roads. They're terrible. This is a major thoroughfare. Boy, the desert's pretty out here. Volcanic rock, lots of desert foliage. Creates the most interesting pattern on the hills. On this long straight stretch between Quartzsite and Phoenix, I try and keep my speed about 60 miles an hour, which means everyone passes me up, but it does make a difference in gas mileage. So I let people like this trucker pass me by, and I try not to feel guilty about it. Often got some gas because I honestly wasn't sure how far the next gas station was, and this is like this long straight stretch that doesn't look like there are many towns. So I'm topped off. A lot of farming around here. It's like a big farming valley. So, you know, I was just out there in the desert at that Schoolie convention, Schoolie Palooza, and down in Quartzsite for part of the time. And I have to tell you, I'm just not a camping type of person. Like, I can take the RV and I can go camping in far-flung places, but I'm at heart a city guy, and I like being in the city. And for me, I would much rather be urban camping in a city. Gosh, that was loud. And I just don't like being in isolated places. I like having a gym near to me. I like having stores. I like having city amenities. And so the question for me is always like, where is a good balance point? Big cities have some positives and some negatives. And so I don't know. So I'm going to Phoenix. Phoenix is enormous. The parking space that I found is a pretty good one. And so I'm looking forward to kind of going back there. I'm going to kind of see how far I can push that spot, so we'll have to see. I'll probably end up looking for an alternate spot that I can alternate to. So maybe I'll be in Phoenix for 2 weeks. I'm not exactly sure yet. One of the other great things about this location, this is really probably one of the best locations that I've been to, is that it's a big, long, wide street. Semis kind of come and park here. There is some traffic, but it's got this wall. There's some sort of auto business over here. There are auto businesses way on the other side. There's an apartment complex over there, but that's kind of a ways away. Open field, no parking signs of any kind. There are a couple of other people that I've seen come and park here. There's another RV that's been over there for as long as I've been here. In fact, it was here when I was here before. And so yeah, so I'm kind of thinking that maybe I'll leave this weekend. I keep telling myself that, but this has been a pretty good location. Another thing that I went and did is I have been kind of doing a bit of exploring into this area, and it's really cool because the nature preserves that go through, there's one that you can't really see it super well here, but there are just these big open nature preserves right in the middle of Phoenix. So you kind of drive up over that one over there, and you kind of go up what seems like a little bit of a pass, almost a mountain pass. There's no clear mountains right there, but it kind of seems that way. I actually want to go hiking up there because there's tons of hiking that you can do up into those areas. Well, I've decided to come out to one of these nature preserves and go for a hike. This is right in the middle of Phoenix. So they just have these really cool nature preserves. Really cool. Look at all the beautiful desert plants. Heat warning in effect April to October. Yep, we're in the desert. Yeah, it is crazy. This is just right in the middle of the desert. It rained hard the other night. You can clearly see that when it rains, water comes through here. So I don't know how far this is. I'm just gonna kind of see. So pretty. Very pretty. And look how green it is. I just want you to notice how green it is. They've had a lot of monsoon rain. And the other night, it rained really hard. And if we sort of swing around over here, you can clearly see like homes and stuff over there. We're in this preserve, but just look how green it is. I am way out here in the middle of Phoenix, in the middle of this nature preserve. Phoenix has a handful of these really large parks they call nature preserves, where they don't do any development, and they've got all these trails. Quite a few people out here. And you know, I just took my scooter out here. You can't see that we are surrounded by city in every direction when you're in the middle of this nature preserve. I would have no idea unless I came out here, but the desert scenery is really pretty out here. And look how sort of green it is. How cool is this? I just love how pretty these trees are. They're so picturesque. I love it. They've got these rocks marking the path out. I'm trying not to go too far off the path, but I do want to kind of look at some of the surrounding area, but I'm being very careful and not going very far off. Here you can kind of see a little bit more of Phoenix there in the distance. I'm on another trail that's a little bit higher up, and I'm basically pointing right about the direction of where my RV is parked a couple miles away. So one of the other cool things is basically just kind of down over that direction is the church that Frank Lloyd Wright designed. I'd never heard about it before, but while doing some searches on Google to find interesting places to explore, this church showed up. And in mid-1950s, he had designed this church for another denomination, someplace back east, I think, and they ended up not using it. The church dissolved for some reason, and so the plans got shelved. And in late 60s or so, maybe 1970, a small congregation here heard about it. The pastor of this church heard about it, and Frank Lloyd Wright had passed away at this point, and he contacted the widow, Frank Lloyd Wright, and asked her, hey, can we use these plans? And she gave them permission, and so they built that church based off the plans for this other church. And it has all of these very sort of characteristic signatures of Frank Lloyd Wright. And so that's here, so I went and explored that. I was just looking on Google Maps and also doing some driving around the area and noticed it, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. It actually said that on Google Maps, that it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. One of the signatures, apparently, Frank Lloyd Wright is this concrete and stone type of appearance. And the church itself has all of these triangular forms. And so apparently when he was designing it, he built these triangular forms as a sort of reflection of the Christian concept of God, the Trinity. And so everywhere it's got triangular forms, and the main church itself has this big triangular shape. And so that was his way of sort of imparting that concept of Christianity. There are these triangular sculptures over there. So the church itself was actually designed by Frank Lloyd Wright back in the early 1950s, around 1950. It was actually designed for another congregation, and he designed it, and then apparently that congregation dissolved. It just ceased to be, and so the plans were shelved. And it didn't actually get built until the early 1970s, when this congregation here, which was in a much humbler, smaller church, knew about those plans and contacted Frank Lloyd Wright's wife and asked permission for them to use those plans. Oh, and look at this. First Christian Church, 1972, founded 1952. Yeah, definitely very, very, very unique. It's sort of a very unique American expression of a religious structure. So cool. This is what happens when you travel. You just stumble into cool things like this. From a distance, you don't really see some of the most interesting parts of that building until you go right up to it and look inside and see right up close to it. So yeah, cool. And there is the city in the distance. There it is. I've walked far enough that you can clearly see some of the city emerging. Just pretty mountainsides. And here you can kind of see a little bit more of Phoenix there in the distance. I'm on another trail that's a little bit higher up, and I'm basically pointing right about the direction of where my RV is parked a couple miles away. Yeah, Phoenix is a really big city, but it does have sort of some areas like this, similar to Las Vegas, where there are just open fields. You know, more so on the outer parts of town. I'm not right in the middle of Phoenix, but yeah, so it's been kind of an interesting area. So there's another car that comes here at night, somebody that's clearly doing like car camping or car living, and they come and park here at night. So anyway, I'm going to try and do a quick video because I've been busy with some other things, and so I haven't really done much in the way of, you know, doing a video for my channel. But I don't know if I'm going to stay here for another week or if I'm going to, you know, get out of town and move on to the next place. I'm not sure. I am getting kind of antsy to start moving on. I might go back to Lake Havasu. There's another event coming up in Quartzsite. I might go back to Quartzsite. I don't know. But I'm actually thinking about going back up to Las Vegas. So I've got to figure out what I'm going to do in terms of travel next. But at least for now, this is where I've been.